Hi, Katie. How are ya?
Hi, I'm doing okay.
Yeah. How have you been feeling since we last met and chatted?
Honestly, I'm feeling pretty overwhelmed. Work's been really tough lately. I'm juggling so many things at once, and I just don't feel like I'm keeping up. It's a lot.
Yeah, I hear you. Um, it sounds like you have a lot on your plate right now with work. When you think about stress at work, what do you think is the hardest part for you?
I think it's just like the pressure to do everything perfectly. Every time I get one thing done, I feel like there's just more piled on, and I cannot catch a break. It's just exhausting.
Yeah, that sounds really exhausting for sure. Well, it makes sense that you're feeling overwhelmed with constant pressure. I think that's normal. I'm wondering though, has there ever been a time, even if it's been recently, where you have been able to push through that pressure or manage that pressure a little bit better? Like maybe a moment when you didn't feel quite as overwhelmed?
Um, well, now that you mention it, now that I'm thinking about it, I guess there was a time last week when I managed to get through like a really big project.
Yeah.
I could stay focused for most of the day and I didn't let myself get distracted, which was nice. I finished it on time and I got really positive feedback from my boss, so it definitely felt like a win.
Nice. That's awesome. It sounds like you definitely do have the ability to focus and get things done when you're kind of just in the right headspace. What do you think was different about your headspace that day? Like, what do you think helped you stay focused and kind of positive about your deadline that day?
Um, I think I like broke the project down in smaller tasks, so
Mm.
I didn't try to do everything at once.
Mhm.
I took some short breaks to clear my mind, which helped me to not get too overwhelmed.
Yeah, that sounds like that was definitely like a effective approach for you. Breaking things down into manageable tasks and giving yourself little breaks. It sounds like you have some tools in your toolbox that can help you move through without feeling all that pressure. If we were to imagine that things were just a little bit easier, say maybe 10% less stressful at work, right? What would that look like for you?
I guess I wouldn't feel like I'm constantly rushing around. I'd have more space to breathe between tasks and
Mhm.
I wouldn't feel so behind all the time.
Yeah. Okay. That sounds like a much calmer workday for sure. If we focused on making that 10% difference, what would be one small step that you could take to create that space for yourself at work? Something that feels manageable and more realistic.
Um, Maybe I could set like clear boundaries for myself. Like if I finish a task, I'll give myself like a set break time before moving on to the next thing.
Okay.
And I could try saying no to any tasks, that I can't realistically like take on in that moment. So I'm not putting even more on my plate.
Yeah, that sounds like a super great first step, setting those boundaries, especially in the workplace, taking breaks to recharge. I'm wondering what you think might get in the way of doing that. Are there any challenges that you might face that might impact your ability to stick to those boundaries or to initially lay those boundaries?
I think the hardest part will be saying no to people. I'm definitely not good about that. I'm afraid, I'll disappoint my boss or my coworkers if I turn down tasks. But I know I can't keep up with everything if I don't set some limits.
Sure, sure. That's super understandable. It can feel super hard to say no, especially when you're in a professional setting, right? And you want to be helpful and you want to kind of get done what's being asked of you. But it kind of sounds like you're already recognizing that by protecting your own well-being, like that's important too, right? What might make it easier for you to say no or maybe ask for more time when you need it? What would that look like for you, do you think?
Maybe I could frame it as like needing to focus on quality over quantity.
Yep.
Like I want to give this task my full attention, so I need to finish this before taking on something else.
Yeah. I think that that is a great way to approach it. And I think saying that to hopefully any boss, a boss would appreciate that, right? That you want to look at the quality of your work versus, just how much you can get done in a short amount of time, Um, framing it as a commitment to doing your best work rather than turning down your boss or anybody at work that is asking something of you might make it feel more aligned with your values, right? So, what would it feel like to set that boundary in the moment for you?
Um, I think it would feel empowering,
Mhm.
actually. Like I'm taking control of my time and my energy and what I'm focusing on.
Yeah, I agree. That sounds great. I think, it sounds like you obviously have the capacity to set boundaries, and protect your peace and your well-being, in a respectful, kind way that aligns with your values and morals and all those things. Um, so as we wrap up today, I'd like you to think about the your next week at work, right? So, what's one thing you'd like to focus on or maybe accomplish that will move you closer to feeling a bit more in control this week with less pressure?
I think I will focus on like setting that boundary,
Hmm.
taking breaks, and saying no when necessary.
Yeah.
I'll definitely try it for a couple of days and see how it goes if it's able to happen.
Yeah, that sounds like a great plan. Um, but remember that even if it doesn't go perfectly, right, each small step that you take in the direction of boundaries and less pressure is progress. You're building a skill that will help you feel less overwhelmed, less under pressure, more in control, and I hope that you can recognize it again, even if it doesn't go perfectly, you are still making that progress towards your goal. So, um, I'm really excited to hear about how your next week goes at work next time we chat.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I'm definitely feeling a little more confident about it now. So I'm ex looking forward to this next week and working on this.
Good, good. I'm glad that we could walk through this today. Again, I look forward to talking to you next week. And I hope you have a good night.
Thank you, you too.
Thank you.